our main goal is to make a cultural climate change here in Oulu. I'm Pia Rantala-Korhonen. I'm the CEO of Oulu Culture Foundation, which is implementing the cultural program of European Capital of Culture 26 here in Oulu. We want to connect people, reconnect people, and connect different branches in the society, cultural people and the high-tech people. Oulu has been known as a high-tech city, but maybe not that much as a cultural city, and that is what we want to change.
And that has changed, or
Yes,
already? It's a bit early, maybe?
Yes, I think that it has changed. I think that the opening weekend in January changed the minds of the local citizens. I have never seen so many smiling faces in midwinter on Oulu streets.
So the people of Oulu feels that this is their kind of program?
Yes, because we have thought that we are not making a special program for tourists, but we think that if we make an interesting cultural program for the locals, it will be also interesting for those who are coming to Oulu for a visit. Of course, we must take care of the language issues, so that there are texts also in other languages, not only in Finnish and so on. But so far we think that people have really found us, so that, for example, leisure time travelers have found us. There are 40% more of them than what it was a year ago.
What would you say has been the major challenges for the project?
Maybe the major challenges have been to make people believe that this can really happen here up in the north, because we are for the first time in the history of Oulu making this big cultural event which lasts the whole year. Only 3% of professional artists live here in Oulu region, so there are not too many artists to implement this year, and to make them understand that we also need artists from other parts of Finland, but also European artists to make this year really happen. That was maybe the biggest challenge.
And sometimes when we talk to former cities, they've said that one of the major challenges has been with the professional artists that think that when you have the cultural capital, they will have a lot of money, they will have a lot of projects going on. Has that been a challenge here as well? Because the concept of cultural cities is actually more perhaps for the people of the city than for the artist, or do you have another kind of view?
Well, we have built our cultural program so that we made ourselves in-house about 15 bigger scale projects. And for those projects, we could also ask the so-called big names to be part of. And all the other projects we have collected using open calls. And it seems to be so that it's not so easy for established artists to take part in open calls. And I have heard from, not so many, but maybe from 3 big artists who are thinking that we should have asked them to be part of the program, that they are too big stars to apply using open call. But
Excellent.
That happens in every European capital of
Yes.
culture, as I have understood.
That's true. It's a bit misconception about what it is about, isn't it?
Yeah, because this is not a curated top-level art program, but this is really a participatory social project also, because one of our challenges was also to make our community more balanced, so that it's not only the healthy and wealthy who are taking care in cultural events, but so that those people who are somehow in marginal of the society, so that they also feel that this belongs to me, so that the city belongs to them. It's a big thing to make.
So if you have had ultimate power concerning the concept of cultural capitals for the future, what would you change in the concept itself?
one very concrete thing is that I think that European Union should also get financing for the cities, because it's really hard at the same time to build up the organization to implement the whole thing, to recruit staff for the organization, at the same time apply for different kind of finances from European funds. It's a big job, and maybe I could also have less of those criteria what we have in the application phase. We should have more room for artistic freedom, because now this is quite instrumental how we are using art and culture in European capitals of culture, and I think that it should be maybe still more cultural, just for culture's sake, not every time think about the social and economic impacts and so on, but there should be more room for culture's sake.
If you go back a few years to when you started to think about why should Finland and why should this region have a cultural capital program or have this kind of year, why did you do it?
Because we have seen examples of other cities, starting maybe from Glasgow, which has shown that cities who have not been recognized as creative or cultural cities have really changed, so that it's not worth making this huge job just for 1 year's gig, but to think about the long-term effects and the legacy which this year can have in a city. It makes a city more human, more open to different kind of people, more creative, and I think that it's not good only for culture but also for businesses, so that we can have different kind of people living in our city. And it's a little bit the same thing what Richard Florida wrote, but we are making it in practice, so that he was talking about the creative class, and we are trying to get the creative class more and more to our city.
And it's also interesting to see that for business it's been beneficial, like in Bodø. They had really good results when we saw the results from tourism, that it's never been better than that year and afterwards. So that might also be a benefit for this region, I guess.
Yes. We already have seen that tourism has increased really well, and what is problematic is that the money doesn't come to the cultural people, so that we still need the public money for the culture, so that the culture can be the attractive thing in the city which brings the tourists. And I hope that the enterprises will understand better in the future that maybe it's also worth for them to give some financing for making culture, so that it will bring customers for them.
So that might be one of the results maybe in the long term.
Yeah. For example, in Leeuwarden they told that it was easier to get private money for the legacy years than for the real year.
Exactly.
Because the enterprises knew that what is going to happen.
Yes. Thank you so much, and best of luck for the remaining month.
Thank you.